You are starting out your mini importation journey and you have so many questions on your mind, you don't know exactly where to turn to. I'm going to be addressing all of those questions in this particular video. Whether you are a beginner or already you are into mini importation, but you want to actually understand whatever you are into in order to scale up your business, I am going to be addressing all of those questions in this particular video. If this sounds interesting, hit on the like button, also hit on the subscribe button to join the family of winners. Now I'll be reading out the questions on my phone. As I read out, I'll just be answering the questions to our understanding. All right. First question is, what is mini importation and how does it work? Mini importation is buying or purchasing or importing items from an international market. So wherever you are currently are, you are purchasing from a different international market where it is known, or you know that when you go to this particular market, you are going to get suppliers for whatever business that you are going to do. It's actually mini importation that you are doing. Now, the popular places or places that you can actually get these suppliers from, we have China, we have Turkey, we have Bangladesh, and sometimes you can get some in US and UK. So these are the popular places that if you are starting mini importation, you are likely to venture into any of these countries that I have spoken about. Now, when it comes to mini importation, it's only, as the name sounds, mini, so it means that it is the lower version of importation. So if it's the lower version of importation, it definitely means that there is a higher version of importation, which we call the large scale importation. And what we are talking about here is the mini importation, which is the low scale importation. When it comes to low scale importation, the amount or the capital that is involved in this particular low scale importation is minimal. So you can think about starting it from around maybe $50 to about $500. So if you are importing items worth that amount of money, it means that you are in the mini importation level. Okay. And when you get to the large scale level, that is when you are going to be needing full containers. And this is when even most of these large scale people are people that actually start their own brands. Okay, so they go to these places that I've mentioned. Let's use China for example. So they go to China and all they do is um maybe 50 containers of a particular pad or a particular diaper, and they label it for them. They use their own brand and place it for them, and they have their warehouse somewhere where they pack these items in and they start to distribute. So the large importers are those that are key distributors in your countries. Those are people that you can call large scale importers. But what we are doing, or the concept of mini importation, is you are doing it at a minimal level. So most of the times you cannot even get up to a half container, not talk of full container. Okay, so if you're at that particular level, it means that you are doing mini importation. Now, how does it work? So all you have to do, you can actually sit at the comfort of your home and start a mini importation, or start importing items from the minimum point of view, right? So all you have to do is to get platforms like 1688, platforms like Pindodo, platforms like Alibaba. These are all platforms that you can actually go onto and source for legit suppliers, and you can actually purchase these items from these places. Now let's talk about 1688. And when it comes to 1688, you should understand that it is for 1688 and Pindodo. They are for the Chinese, um they are for people staying in China. Okay, so but we still find ways of actually getting into that market to purchase from these people. And when it comes to Alibaba, it is for the international market. So you can easily go onto Alibaba and you can actually source for suppliers from these platforms. All right. So that is basically how this thing works. Once you source for your items on these platforms, you purchase your items. Your items are shipped to your country, and you start to sell. That is, you are practicing mini importation of that sort. Okay, so let's move to the very next question. So the next question is, how can I start mini importation with little or no money? So it is very much possible to start mini importation without any capital or without any money, and it's also very much possible to start a mini importation with very low capital. As I explained in our first question, I told you that mini importation, it can range like $50 to $500, right? So if you have money that is within any of these brackets, you can actually start to import your items. So all of that will depend on the niche that you are in. If I talk about the niche, I'm talking about the type of items that you want to import. So there are so many niches like bags, you can go into shoes, you can go into clothing, you can go into electricals, you can go into gadgets. There are so many different things that you can actually do with mini importation. Okay, so if your capital is low, you have to get a niche that can actually work with the capital that you are holding or the money that you are having, right? So you get items that you can actually purchase with that low capital, then you resell it and reinvest the profit that you get into your business so that you can scale up your capital, so that you can purchase more of that particular items that you have been purchasing from these platforms. The other way you can also do without capital is starting a business model that we call it pre-ordering. So pre-ordering is basically selling items to people without holding the item physically. So all you have to do is to source for these items. Either you're sourcing it in China, Bangladesh, or Turkey. So I'm using China for an example. So you're sourcing for let's say blenders, right? So you source for the blenders. Let's say you have sourced for the blender and the blender costs like $6 in China. All you have to do is to add your profit to it. So let's say you want to add a profit of maybe $2 or $3. So you add it to this $6. Then you price it to somebody. Then you have to explain your business model to the person. So you explain your business model to the person by telling the person that, okay, this particular item over here, it is not available. It will be available so and so time, or this is the duration that there is. Okay, so if you are interested, so once you get people to purchase, you take the money, you take your profit, and you purchase for them. Okay, so it is very much possible that you can start your mini importation journey without capital at all. That is exactly the business model that I personally started when I was starting my mini importation business. So I know exactly what I'm telling you or what I'm talking to you about. I started it and it worked for me. After some time, I then stopped pre-ordering because by then I had the capital to now purchase on my own, right? So you can easily do it without capital or even with very, very minimal capital. So let's get right into our very next question. So our very next question is, what are the best websites to buy cheap products for mini importation? So as I mentioned earlier, I mentioned Alibaba, I mentioned Pindodo, I mentioned 1688. But all of these places, I always have people and they'll be like, Alibaba 1688 is cheaper. Some will be like Pindodo is cheaper. Some will be like, hey, Alibaba, don't even go there. That place, they are middlemen. Please, so far as you are doing your sourcing well, I've had items that are higher on 1688 and are cheaper on Alibaba before. I have had it that items are cheaper on Pindodo than on 1688, and like it cuts across. Even when you go in deeper, most of the same suppliers that are supplying on 1688, you have most of them also being in any of these platforms. Okay, so I can't specifically tell you that, okay, this is where you are going to get it cheaper. Getting it at cheaper price would depend on, or getting it at a moderate price would depend on, number one, your bargaining power, and also number two, your sourcing power. If you don't source well, you always get items at higher prices. So all of these platforms that I have mentioned, they are good places that you can actually go and purchase your item. Let nobody tell you that here is cheaper than here. Okay, because no matter where there is, you will still have other suppliers selling it at higher price of the same item in those platforms. So all is left onto you, the one that is buying, to source your items, right? It's just like going to your local market. You get onto your local market and you ask vendor A tells you that it is $10, and you decide that, okay, let me just buy, without moving to vendor B to go and ask, and you will just consider that, oh, this market people, their items are high. It doesn't work like that. Make sure you source and source well. So I can't specifically, these three places are places that personally I purchase from. Okay, so I'll advise you to use all of the three. Any place at all you can purchase from them. All of them, they are good, and all of them too, you can have issues. So all depends on you, the one that is going into this mini importation, to make sure that when you are doing your sourcing, if I say sourcing, I mean when you are searching for items, make sure you search and search well, and you can still go into their DMs and bargain with them, right? So let's go to our very next question. So our very next question is, how do I find reliable suppliers on 1688, Alibaba, or Pindodo? Okay, so any of these platforms, how can you be able to find reliable suppliers? Avoid cheap items. First, you have to work on yourself. Make sure that these platforms, yes, they said there are cheaper items there, but it doesn't mean like very cheap. Something that in your local market they sell it like, let's say $20, okay, and you go onto this platform, you're going to see somebody selling it like $2. Something should click in your mind that this person is not a reliable supplier. So reliable suppliers always have, moderate prices that ranges across almost all of the other suppliers. Now, the number two thing that you need to know when you are purchasing, or how you can find if a supplier is reliable, is to make sure that you check the number of years that the supplier has been in business. Okay, so suppliers that are from 3 years upwards, it is telling us that okay, these people have been in business for some time. People have probably purchased from them before, they don't have issues and all that. Okay, you also have to go ahead and check on reviews. So what are reviews? Reviews are things that people have purchased from these people before. What are they saying about this particular supplier? So it can give you an informed decision if this supplier is reliable or not. Also, make sure that any single item that you are purchasing from this particular supplier, you are actually checking the details of that particular item. Sometimes will always be like this supplier is not reliable, but it only mean what the real issue is that the supplier actually kept all the um all the information there, but we actually decided not to look at those details. Okay, so in order for you to know if suppliers are reliable, check for all of these things that I have spoken about, and also make sure that if you are working with any supplier, you are working with verified supplier, either on Pindodo 1688 or even on Alibaba. Make sure that they are verified on their platforms. All right, so let's get right into our next question. So our next question is, how can I pay suppliers without getting scammed? If the surest way, okay, the surest way to avoid being scammed during payment is to pay online. Never ever pay offline. If I say online, what do I mean? If you are purchasing on 1688, Pindodo or Alibaba, make sure that whatever payment you are doing it within the app itself. So like 1688, you have connected your Alipay account to your 1688 account. So, or you have connected your MasterCard or your Visa card to your 1688 account. If you are paying, make sure you pay it within that 1688 account. And if I'm talking about offline payments, what do I mean? Offline payment is the supplier sending you an account somewhere for you to actually go and make the payments inside that particular account. That is what is called offline payment. So anytime at all you make offline payments and something happens with your account, or something happens with that particular payment, it means that 1688 or Alibaba or Pindodo, they cannot actually do anything about it. So if you want to avoid getting scams on any of these platforms, it means that you have to make sure that you are paying every payment. That's all you are doing. You are doing it within the app itself. Do not make payments outside the app. No supplier should send you their details for you to make payments to them, either on their Alipay account or through bank transfer. Any of those payments is called offline. And if anything happens, their customer service will not come in to help you out. So now let's move to the next question. So the next question is, what are the best shipping methods for mini importation? We have basically two types, okay, of shipping methods. Once you purchase your item and your item gets to your shipping company, we have the air and we also have the sea. When it comes to the air shipping, they are going to use the weight of the item to charge you, and when it comes to the sea shipping, they are going to use the space your item is going to take. So if you are purchasing, you have to ask yourself the relevant question: this item I'm buying, what is the weight of the item? So it means that you need to know every single detail of the item that you are purchasing at that particular point, so that it can give you an informed decision of the method that will be best to purchase with that particular item. If you are importing items that has weight, like I mean the weight of, like, it has weight, make sure that you are using sea shipping in order to avoid high cost, because that is one of the things that is bringing so many mini importers down. If you do the mistake of using air shipping for items that are heavy and the item arrives, you might not even be able to pay for the shipping to go and take your item. So you just feel like they should just take it. It has happened to so many people. So make sure that the best shipping method would be dependent on the item that you are purchasing. So items that are lightweight, you can use air to import them because you receive it earlier. But items that are heavyweight, like the weight, there is so much weight on those items, make sure that you are using sea shipping in order to avoid paying very high shipping fee for those items. All right, so we are moving to Okay, so we are moving to our next question. And our next question is, how do I calculate the total cost of importing goods? Now, if you learn your mini importation well, you will understand that every single item that you're purchasing on either 1688, Pindodo or Alibaba, it comes with product description. So you can go down and read the description of the item that is actually describing every single item at all that you are purchasing. And so once you get the details of that item, you can get the dimensions and you can use it to calculate at least approximately how much that item would cost you for shipping. Okay, so once you get that one, there is something we call landing cost. The landing cost involve every single cost at all that is involved in purchasing that item till it gets to the final destination of that item. So you bought the item in China, it got to their shipping warehouse. Then when it got to their warehouse in your country, you paid for shipping fee. From there, you paid a transport to take it from that shipping warehouse to your shop or to your house. All of that is landing cost. So you have to put all of those charges inside the shipping fee so that you can be able to know how much it costs you to purchase that item from China to your place. So that one can actually give you an informed decision on how to actually price that particular item. All right, so we are moving to the next question. So the next question is, what are the most profitable products to import and sell? Now when you get onto my channel, if today is your first time of coming across this channel, like subscribe, okay, because I always bring out hot selling products from time to time. When even you go right now and check on my channel, you realize I have so many hot selling products. So it's also one of the ways that you can get hot selling products, by subscribing to Dorkie's channel and always checking through. The other way you can get hot selling products is by spending time on these platforms. So you don't just go there when you want to buy something. There are sometimes I'm not really going to purchase anything, but I just go on there and I scroll through my timeline just to see what are some of the new items that are in, what are some of the items that I haven't seen before. Okay, so that is also another way of knowing hot selling products. Okay, the other way of knowing hot selling product is by buying and testing. Yes, there are so many products that I just bought some few samples to come and try it out to see. Once I tested and it was good, then I decided to not purchase more. Okay, so it's also another way that you can try it. The other way of seeing if an item can be a good item to sell or a hot selling product is by checking online. All right, so you can go on TikTok, you can go on Facebook and check on the new items that is trending or the new items that other vendors are actually selling at that particular point. It can give you a fair idea of how you can get some of these profitable products to actually sell. Okay, but the best of all of these is to do something that is within your niche and also to also buy and test. It's one of the best things because once you purchase and test, it means that it's an item that you haven't really seen around, so you will be one of the first people to actually try that product out. So those products, once you hit on the right side of that product, then it means that you are actually going to make a lot of profit from that product because you are the only vendor around that is actually introducing that product. I hope you understand. So now let's go to our very next question, which is, how can I market and sell my imported products? Now, one thing you need to understand is that you don't need a big store somewhere in order to start to sell. Okay, you can do it at the comfort of your home, and this is how you can market it. Online is there. So we have TikTok, where most vendors are. Okay, though these days it's not really easy like that, but as you try and you are always posting your item there, you are consistent and all that, it will get to a time that people will get to know that okay, this person is not really a scam and we can actually trust this person to purchase from them. The other way is by running paid ads. The other one is by running paid ads. So you can go onto Facebook. I even have a video on that, how to run Facebook and Instagram ads free of charge, and it's very detailed in this particular video. So I'll be leaving it in the description box. You can go and check that video out. It's a very must watch video. So once you learn how to run Facebook and Instagram ads, you can be able to run ads on your Facebook and Instagram to drive traffic and potential customers to your business. The other way is by creating WhatsApp group or making use of your WhatsApp status, because these are people that actually really know you, so they know that you're not going to scam them, right? So whatever business that you venture in with mini importation, whether you're buying to sell or pre-ordering, make sure that you are advertising it also on your status. So the other way, which most of us we sort of don't do, is by word of mouth, right? By word of mouth. So maybe you have a friend, or you are in a particular group or somewhere, you can just introduce the type of business you do to people. At least maybe one or two people might be interested. Even if they are not, they have it in mind that at a point, if somebody needs this, or if I want this, when I go to this person, I'll definitely get. So these are some of the places, or some of the things that you can actually do. So we are now at the very last question, which is, how do I start a business off or on mini importation? Now, most of us, we stress ourselves so much after we learn our mini importation. Most of us just think that immediately after mini importation, it's a must. I have to do pre-order, it's a must. I have to get a store, it's a must. I have to do this, I have to do that. Now, you need to understand that, if, as I spoke earlier, if you have the capital to start, that is okay. If you don't have the capital and you want to go into pre-ordering too, that is fine, but it is not a must. If you have some small little capital somewhere, okay, you can actually use this to start something, and here is how to start it. All you have to do is to get a winning product. So you have just one winning product. So let's say it is a particular let me say face mask. Okay, so you are done with your mini importation and you have realized that face mask is a winning product. All you have to do is to purchase this only face mask. Okay, so you can buy them in different flavors and different colors and all that. Once you have this at hand, you can now start to run your ads. You can start to do all of the things that I showed you in our previous point. Okay, once you do all of these, then you realize that you are selling one product over and over and over and over again. Once that product, let's say you have sold it at a certain point, you realize that many other competitors are getting in, you just leave it for them and change a different new winning product. This strategy is something that I'm using, and it's actually working for me. Most people, after they are done with their mini importation, I hope you have been seeing sponsored ads on your Facebook, that as you are scrolling through, you will just see somebody, one is just one blender, and they are showing the video of how to use it. It's just one watch, they are showing how to use it. That is the person's winning product. So by the time you get there, the person has like maybe 2 boxes, and the person is selling. Once the person is done, the person can either decide to purchase another 2 boxes to come and sell, or change a different item. So you see, these people, they have like even 2 winning products. So they can buy a smartwatch, and they also have a blender. So all of these two, they are running ads on them at the same time, and they are selling this, they are selling. So necessarily they haven't bought almost everything that there is to start a shop, then they are selling. No, they have just 2 products that they are selling at a go, or even just one product. So it's a business thing, that is a business model that I think that if you also go into, it's something that can actually help you start a business out of your mini importation journey. If you have other questions that I did not speak about, you can actually leave it in the comment section, and I'm definitely going to answer you. If you want to start a mini importation journey, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to start, you want me to hold you by the hand and teach you how to start your mini importation, you want to learn how to import from all of these platforms that we have spoken about in this video, DM me and we are definitely going to talk about that. Like this video, share it with friends and family. Most importantly, hit on the subscribe button to join the family of winners. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.